everyone. We're about to get started, and Marina, if you can hit the record button, that would be great.
We are on and recording.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. We're very excited today to present to you this application of FileWave on how to change and add efficiency and cost savings to your MDM solutions. My name is Lena Chamra. I'm the Executive Account Manager here at FileWave. We have along our team that's going to be presenting today, Michael Hughes, our Systems Engineer Manager. Sean Daly, our Director of Channel, will share a sneak peek at the end about our upcoming partnership that we're really excited about. And a special guest, Matt Fuller, the Coordinator of Operations from Talladega City Schools. Thank you all for joining us. Feel free, we will be recording this. In case you have to share this out, you'll be able to do that. I'm going to share just the agenda in a brief note of what we'll be doing today. Basically, it's going to be about 45 minutes, no longer than an hour. I just did the introductions. We're going to share with you just an overall of FileWave, their understanding of our Unified Endpoint Management platform. And then Michael Hughes will give you a demo, high level, just to share with you what we do and how we do it. And then feel free also during that time, you can put into the chat anything that you would like to be addressed. Again, our special thanks to Matt Fuller from Talladega County Schools, and then our sneak preview along with questions and answers at the end. But again, as we go, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to turn off my camera for better perception. So here we go. Again, welcome all. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. We know how busy everyone is to understand our Unified Endpoint Management system here at FileWave. So here's a snapshot of basically what we can cover. FileWave can do it all, whether you've got a Mac, Windows, iOS, Chrome, Apple, doesn't matter. We can manage all from one platform. Very important. We are the first in business over 30 years, cross-platform application that enables any IT staff or even individual, depending how small you are or how big you are. We basically can be an extension to your IT department. Very important. So some of the challenges, and hopefully, if you have any of these, please share them in the chat. We'll be happy to address them. And Michael will be reviewing a lot of these during the high-level demo that he'll be doing in a couple of minutes. But what we hear a lot of is, I've got a mixed iOS environment. I can't manage. I need 7 different applications. FileWave can condense that all under one pane of glass, one console. And you'll see that being done through Michael's interaction with the demo. Tracking assets, are they lost? Where are they? Someone can't find a device. You can actually see how we can use our asset tracking to find those devices. Just even troubleshooting. You don't have the bandwidth of IT folks. We can help with that. It also helps to make things more efficient, and that the staff at your districts can spend more time with the things that are more important. And obviously, like I mentioned earlier, all the different other applications that you may have, but you can deploy all of it all from one single pane of glass. This is some of the highlights of our applications. I'm not going to go through them all again. Michael will touch on most of these during the demo, but I wanted to share some that I know are very important to a lot of our customers and districts. Our API integration. Our API integrations, we've got many, just such as Content Keeper, ServiceNow, One-to-One, Incident IQ, to name a few. However, if you have an application that you'd like to be integrated, please let us know. We're more than happy to share and see that we can do that as well. So if it's not listed, we can definitely work with you in doing that. So that's one really key factor of our platform. Another one is device tracking. Like I mentioned earlier, our geo location is very accurate. We can track any time that there's a lost or stolen device, and Michael will share that as well, again, during his demo. And the last one that I want to really touch on is remote desktop. We have a great partnership with TeamViewer. Not only can you remote in, but you will have full access. And our licensing actually allows 2 full licenses with the subscription. So that's just something great to know. And the last slide is our support. We are customer conscious. We're all about making our customers happy and being there for them. We have 24/5 across the globe coverage, Eastern Standard Time, Pacific and Central. When that is over, it flips over to our United Kingdom time zone. One important factor that I always have found very intriguing with FileWave is that our contractors, our support are not contractors. They're actually folks employed by FileWave. Very important. So you won't get someone that's, representing 3 or 4 different companies. These are FileWave employees to support you, along with our sales team. Our sales team is stellar. We have Michael Hughes, who's been here for over 10 years and is really in tune. And I see Matt Fuller giving us our thumbs up. And it's not something we say, we actually act on that. Again, any questions from what I have reviewed, please stick them into the chat. We're more than happy to answer those at the end. I'm going to now turn this over to Michael Hughes, our system engineer manager. And again, he is just one of the biggest assets here at FileWave. Michael, thank you so much. And I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me share my screen, guys. And share this screen. And okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. As Lena mentioned, guys, I'm going to go through a pretty 30,000-foot overview of FileWave, just a real quick rundown of some things we can do here in our platform. As we've talked about, if you have any questions, you see something I talk about, drop it in the chat. We'll answer it for you as we go along during this webinar. And after the fact, we can do more one-to-one in-depth demonstrations if you want to. But I'm going to start here, and I'm going to start in our native application, which is a native application that we had that can run on a Mac or Windows OS. It runs on both of them. It functions exactly the same way across the board on both of those. But we also do have a web UI inside of FileWave now, too. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen FileWave in the past, but we now have an integrated web UI where you can do some on-the-go technician stuff if you want to. So maybe you have technicians out in the field that need to deploy some software or push out some updates or even run reports. You can put that out there in the web UI. They can jump on an iPad, jump on a browser, and do that stuff via the web UI. For today's presentation, I'm going to stay focused more here in the native application, and I'm just going to run through a couple of things that we do here at FileWave. I'm going to start here in our client screen, which is where all your devices live once they enroll in the FileWave. When it comes to the Windows, Mac, iOS, Chrome, and Android, we have a multitude of different ways to get devices enrolled in the FileWave. With your Windows devices, it is a custom MSI that we can deploy. On the Mac side of the house, it's a custom PKG, or we can do Apple Business or Apple School Manager, either way. With your iOS devices, we're always going to recommend Apple School Manager for sure to get devices enrolled in the FileWave. That gives us full supervision capabilities of those devices. For your Google Chrome, we don't replace the GAC, but we enhance GAC, and that is done via an extension push through the GAC suite. And on the Android side, we can do some ZTE enrollments of those Android devices over the air and get those devices enrolled into FileWave. Now, one thing I like to talk about with FileWave is an agent-based software, which most softwares like a UEM like FileWave are agent-based. So we are agent-based. There is an agent that runs on the devices. It's very minimal resources that take for that agent to be able to run on those devices. So I'm just going to talk about a little bit here in our client screen, show you some information that we can pull from your devices inside of FileWave. Now, we have a couple different structures to bring devices into FileWave. We can do static deployments inside of FileWave where your devices come in, they sit there, and nothing happens to it until you tell it to. But we also can utilize our smart group technology. And what that is, we can build smart groups based off inventory of data that we pull from your devices. And when a device enrolls in the FileWave, it says, hey, I meet that criteria, that smart group. It automatically enrolls in that smart group, and then we'll automatically start pulling down anything you have associated to that group. So it gives you a little bit of automation in there where I can come in and pre-stage anything I want to pre-stage to my devices via smart group, And when a device jumps in that smart group, it will automatically just start pulling down anything I have associated to those groups. Now, like I say, if we go in more in depth, we go one-to-one demonstrations, I'll show you how this works a little more in depth. But today I'm just going to touch on a couple of devices in here and just show you what it looks like inside of FileWave. As you can see how I have my client structure built. I have an all device client group, and then I have my OS separated in that. So here I'm going to start on the Mac side of the house, and I'm just going to double click a device inside of FileWave. And I'm going to run through a couple of tabs just to show you just a little bit of information we pull from your devices. File set status is anytime you deploy software to a device, I can come in here and I can see what software I've actually deployed to those devices. I can tell what that software is, if it's active on the machine. I can tell if I've sent something out, but my requirements are not met. I also can tell if it's available in our end user kiosk. So we have a self-service kiosk where you as the FileWave admin can put anything you want to in that kiosk, and then your end users can install that via that kiosk without being local admins on the device itself. Now, this is something that me coming from a former technology instructor or technology sysadmin in my school district, admin rights is a little catch-22. If you say when we give out admin rights, sometimes it hurts us, sometimes it's okay. With FileWave, you can take away admin rights for all of your end users. You can put anything you want to in your FileWave kiosk, and now your end users can install or uninstall via that kiosk without being local admins on the device itself. The kiosk is fully customizable as well. You can go into dark mode if you're running Mac OS. You can change the logos in that, put your own logo in there, your own name in there. However you want to set that up, it's completely up to you. Device details. When it comes to inventory of your devices inside of FileWave, we pull over 2,000 different data points that we're pulling information from. So any kind of information you need from your devices, we pull into FileWave. And you can also do custom field reporting inside of FileWave. So if there's something that we don't pull on your devices and you want that, we can build a custom field for that, and you can pretty much get limitless on what kind of information you want from your devices. You can see the apps that you've deployed. You can see apps that are installed on your devices if you need that. Users log comes in great handy because we want to see who's logged into our devices. It can be 1 user, 5 users, or 10 users, 20 users. It don't really matter. If they log into that device, we will keep account of that for you. OS patch management is something that's built into FileWave, so you can deploy OS patches through FileWave as well. On the Mac side of the house, we do have declarative management built into FileWave now. So if you've heard of declarative management, it's just an easier way and more complete way to get your OS patches out to your Mac OS devices. Location tracking is something we take pride here in FileWave. That location tracking is built across the board in every device you enroll inside of FileWave. Here in the native application, we can show you on a map view of where those devices are. You can scroll down and you can see where that device is here in the map view, and here we're getting down in accuracy to about 150 feet in accuracy of that device. My device checked in just a few minutes ago and gave me that updated location. Now, I like to jump over here just to the web UI for just a second, where we give you added functionality for location tracking inside of FileWave. I can go to the same device that we're looking at over the native. I can go to location, and now I can open up this up in Google Maps, and it gives me street level view of where those devices live. So now if you have lost or stolen devices, not only can you see it in a map view, now you can see it at a building view. So maybe it's a building, maybe it's a business or something where that device is located at, and you're trying to find that device. You can get that street level view over in our web UI. It's not in the native application as of now, but right now it's only in the web. So I'm going to jump back over into the native application just for a couple minutes. We have remote wipe functionality inside of FileWave. Now, this comes in handy. You know, we all come up with lost or stolen devices, you know, so we have a remote wipe tool. That is a full remote wipe of your devices inside of FileWave. That's not an incremental wipe. You can completely erase those hard drives. So if I get a lost or stolen device and I know it's lost or stolen, I'm going to set the remote wipe flag. And when that device checks into a network, it's going to remote wipe that device right in front of the end user. Some new features that we've released in FileWave just last week. We now have the send notification option inside of FileWave, which means I can send a one-way message to all of my end users. Maybe we send out a new OS patch and I want to tell the end users, hey, I've sent out a new OS patch. Please reboot your machine. You can send that notification out. And just remember, that is a one-way message. That is not back and forth messaging. I can right-click on devices inside of FileWave. Lena also showed in her slide deck, we have a partnership with TeamViewer for our remote desktop piece. You know, we talked to a lot of our customers a lot about integrating a lot of your platforms that you have out in your network into one. Well, remote desktop is one of those. You don't have to have a third-party remote desktop tool anymore. It's built into FileWave. And we have that partnership with TeamViewer that gives you access to remote into all your devices that are inside the FileWave ecosystem here. We have two options for you to use that TeamViewer option. That is a prompt the user option. Well, it will prompt their end user and say, hey, a FileWave admin wants to log into your device. Will you allow them to? Yes or no? They can say no, of course. But we also have don't prompt the user. So if you need to get into those devices, maybe somebody's not sitting at their desk. Maybe it's after hours. You want to remote into that device and do some work on it. You can do that by not prompting them, get in, take control, and do what you need to do. If you purchase FileWave, you get 2 TeamViewer admin licenses that come with your purchase with FileWave. You can always purchase more. Don't think you're just limited to 2 because you can always purchase more if you need to. That means 2 FileWave admins that have a license assigned to them can concurrently remote into devices at the same time. So if you need more, don't fret. We got you covered. Jumping into real quick the iOS side of the house, just because I want to touch on a couple extra features before I move on real fast, is when it comes to remote buy for iOS devices, I love to show remove activation lock. And the reason why I want to show remove activation lock is we allow people to sign into their own iOS devices with their Apple ID and passwords. You know, back in the old days, you had to prove to Apple you own a device to get rid of that information. Now we don't really worry about it anymore because we have remove activation lock built into FileWave. So if an end user signs into an iOS device with their own Apple ID and password, maybe they quit, maybe they get terminated, they bring you the device back, you don't have to ask for that information anymore because now you can use the remove activation tool, unlock that device, wipe that device, clean that device up, and give that device to somebody else if you want to. Something else I like to highlight here for iOS is now we have the return to service feature built into FileWave that was released back in the fall release of Apple's new iOS. So what that is Apple's claim to fame has always been zero touch. Well, now you actually can do iOS zero touch erase and reinstalls and re-enrolls back into your MDM of choice. So I like to show we do have that built into FileWave as well. So dropping down real quick to our software deployment screen for just a few minutes. I want to talk about what we can do when it comes to software deployment of application for your devices. For your Windows and Mac devices, we have a few options for you in here. So maybe you have an app and folder you want to push out to your devices. Maybe it's a document that everybody needs. Maybe it's a acceptable use license agreement or acceptable use policy. You can put that in an app and folder and drop it out and put it anywhere you want to on that device, and then it will show there for the end users to be able to open that up and look at it if they need to. Maybe you want to drop a browser in there. Maybe you want to send out Google Chrome. You can drop your Google Chrome folder in there. Send it out. They'll have Google Chrome on their device now. Empties I like to talk about. We can push out scripts for your Mac and Windows devices. You can do script deployment with FileWave. Maybe there's an exe you want to send out for your Windows devices. We all know exe format comes where it requires end-user interaction. But with FileWave, we can drop exes into an empty folder, add some silent switches in there, and then make that software exe install silently without any end-user interaction if you need to. OS patch management, as I talked about just a few minutes ago, is built into FileWave. That is for iOS, Mac, and Windows, and tvOS. You can push out all your updates to those devices if you want to. If you look at the Windows catalog here, you can see that you can see all your Windows updates that your devices that are inside your FileWave instance are requesting from the Windows Update catalog. You can see those updates here. You can deploy those updates from here. You can schedule those updates from here. If you want them to go out at a certain time, we give you that flexibility to push out your OS patches. Jump back in here just for a second. On the Apple side of the house, we have Profile Manager built into FileWave. So if you want to build profiles inside of FileWave, you're more than welcome to do that. If you guys are using an MDM right now, I'm sure this looks familiar to you. So you can continue to build profiles and import them into FileWave. For the declarative management, you can see we have two options: DDM asset and DDM configuration. You can do configurations for declarative management on your device. We integrate with the volume purchase store. If you guys are using Apple Business Manager or Apple School Manager and you integrate with the volume purchase store, we can pull that into FileWave. You can deploy all those licenses out and those applications out via FileWave. We have something new that come out in our last release of 15.5, where we have auto PKG built into FileWave now. So you can use auto PKG for the Mac OS. Go out and search for applications. If they're in auto PKG, you can bring them in. You can deploy those auto PKG, those PKGs out via FileWave. Now, let's just say you search an auto PKG. There's not a PKG out there for you to install via auto PKG. So, but you have the PKG for that software. You can bring those PKGs into FileWave. You can send those out via FileWave. Once again, no end user interaction is required here. I pull it in, I send it out. Once it's done installing, it's there for the end user to be able to use that piece of software. On the Microsoft side of the house, MSIs. MSI is a pretty basic format to send out software. You can bring MSIs into FileWave. You can deploy those out. Once again, requires no end user interaction. I always like to say here too, we don't have a size limitation for deployment of software inside of FileWave. If you want to deploy a large 20 gig package, you're more than welcome to. Do I recommend it to 300 or 400 computers at one time? No, I do not. But you can do that if you want to. We have also newly integrated with Microsoft WinGet. So just like the auto PKG package for Mac OS, on the Windows side, you can use WinGet, bring those packages in, and those will keep auto updating themselves if you want to set that field for that. Where if I bring a package in via WinGet, I can set it to auto update. Now, if there's a new update, when I update the model on the FileWave server, it sees there's a new update. It grabs that update and install that update for you. So it kind of gives you a little bit more automation in there for third-party updating of software. And stay tuned on that, because in the new year, we'll have a lot more exciting features when it comes to third-party patching for inside of FileWave for the Microsoft and the Apple side of the house. Real quick for me, we can do imaging inside of FileWave on the Windows side of the house. So if you're used to the old Pixie Boot imaging way, we can do Pixie Boot imaging as well. If you have Azure/Entra in your network, we can have an integration with Autopilot. So you can do over-the-air wipes and reinstalls if you want to do that. License management is where we connect to the volume purchase store. So anything you do inside of volume purchase, you can see all those applications here in the platform. I can see what apps I've bought. I can see what apps I've got free. I can see how many I've owned, how many I've got installed, even what token I bought them from if I want to do that. And the last thing for me real quick, guys, is inventory queries. Inventory queries is the most granular thing we have inside of FileWave. As I mentioned earlier, there's over 2,000 different data points that we can build inventory queries off of. We can build new queries, and we have drop-downs among drop-downs among drop-downs. If you need queries that, like I said, we don't pull, we can do custom fields, and we can pretty much get limitless on that information. I like to say here as well that our inventory queries are dynamic inventory queries, which means if you build a query and something changes on your devices, your queries will change as well. You can take your inventory reporting. You can email them to yourself at a weekly basis or a daily basis. You can email them to principals, superintendents, directors, bosses, however you want to set those reports up, you can do that, and they can be sent out to whoever needs those reports, or you can keep them just for your own inventory information inside of FileWave. Like I say, guys, I know that's a very high-level 30,000 foot overview. If we get to the point at the end of this and you want a more detailed one-to-one demonstration, I'd be more than happy to get with you and do that. Lena can set that up, and we'll talk more about that toward the end. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and give it back to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael, so much. Appreciate it. So now I just need those. Is Marina there? I just need those. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we could address them, or you can email us after. We'll give you our contact information. Thanks, Michael. We appreciate it. So our next and most exciting part of this is our special guest, Matt Fuller, Coordinator of Operations from Talladega City Schools. I'm going to have him give you an overall of what he does, and here's some facts about where he's located and of his district. But Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. We're going to engage with each other, and we could take it from there.
Sure thing. Thank you first of all, thank you for having me here. We are FileWave fans, so I am excited to be here. Yes, like Lena was saying, we are located actually on right off of I-20, right in between Birmingham and Atlanta. We have about 1,500 students, 400 employees, and there are 2 of us in the IT department. So a product like FileWave is a very big asset for us. It's almost like having another employee. It does that much work for us. So we'll get more in depth, I guess, in that in just a few minutes. But yeah, I'm super psyched to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We truly, as I said it earlier, we value our customers. We support our customers. And again, we appreciate you taking the time knowing how busy you are. So I'm going to start off with the first and most important question. So we'd like you to share your experience. You know, we know you were with Mosel and PDQ. So from moving over to FileWave, what was your experience like with the implementation?
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you. Let me back up before that. We did have several of those programs that FileWave replaced for us. When I first heard of FileWave, it was not something that I necessarily wanted to even look at. My friend at InCare, Betsy Mitchell, she just stayed on me. I came to one of these and I sat through it and I was like, there's no way that this does all that they're saying it does. And we had a little bit of money left over from a grant, cyber grant from the state. And so we went ahead and purchased it. And then they put me in touch with Michael Hughes. He speaks fluent Alabama, if you heard him. And so it was a great experience. Michael is not he's not blowing smoke your way. It does what he just showed and so much more. And to be honest with you, Lena, we're not scratching the surface. Every single week we learn something new that we could, a new thing that we can utilize from FileWave. But yeah, so it was a great setup. Just being transparent, it took a little work with us. We had a little bit of an experience coming from a PDQ environment and from Mosel. The cool thing and the most awesome thing was we got to do all of that now in everything that we were doing in these multiple programs. We now have one window, one pane of glass that we can look at all of that and manage it. And just give you an example with all of our Windows devices, we get a new box in, we put it on our domain, and then we put FileWave on it. We drop that machine into a group that is attached to a deployment that has that's made up of multiple file sets, like what Michael was talking about, and that device gets what we need 99.9% of the time. I don't have to worry about that. With it being 2 of us in the IT department, man, that's fantastic. That, like I said, this is like having a great employee that I don't have to pay like a great employee.
Yeah, of course. That's great. Again, that's where the cost savings comes into, even
Yes,
if it's a larger department. Thank you. Thank you for that. So let me ask, are there any unique cases that really come to mind that you had challenges prior to FileWave that we have solved and helped the team overcome?
Yes, we have had several things like that. We've had issues with some of our labs that being able to, Michael mentioned wiping those machines and just turn around. We could set that on a schedule with FileWave. In particular at some of our labs. We have had situations with iPads. The iPad management tools that come with FileWave are phenomenal. One of the things that I really like, of course, you can see when Michael started talking about return to service, that is awesome. Get him to explain more about that and how it works. I about fell out of my chair when he told me it would do it. And then I did fall out when it actually did it, what he said. So, yeah, it makes our iPad management so stinking simple. And so, yeah, there are a lot of cases for us. And like I said, every single day we're coming up with new ways to use this product. And by the way, let me throw this in here. Fantastic, phenomenal support. If you've got an idea and you're not sure how to do it, you will run into that, by the way. They have FileWave has fantastic support, and they can help you get done what you're trying to get done.
Great, great. And by the way, these are not prompt answers. These are answers off of his mind that he's coming up with. So we appreciate the transparency here, Matt. So
Yes, ma'am.
another question: have we helped in FileWave in implementation of having our solution helped increase productivity on your end here there at the district?
That's an understatement. Absolutely. Like I said, rolling out machines, managing machines. One great thing that I love about a FileWave, and again, I encourage you. One, just buy the program. They'll hook you up with Michael. If you want to just get hooked up with Michael and throw these questions at him, do that. But we can move machines in and out of groups, and I may have a specific app or a software on a machine that I do want with these people over here, but I don't with over here. And so for some reason, we're going to move this device from over here to over here. I don't have to spend a lot of time uninstalling that. When you change that group, FileWave automatically removes everything associated with this group and puts it on this group. The amount of time that saved us alone, we could spend the whole webinar talking about that, the rest of this time talking about that. And so that's just one way that it has. Initial rollout is pretty doggone simple. Once you get it set up, and like I said, you drop a device, this is iOS or Windows, you drop a device in a group, and FileWave goes to work. And so the time that it saves is immense.
That's great. That's great. And the last question, I know you mentioned, and we love that enthusiasm, just go buy it. But honestly, how did it fit into the district's budget? I know, obviously change is always a big characteristic on districts' schedules and whatnot. But can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, and just being transparent with you, Lena, when we first saw it, I had a little bit of sticker shock. It looked expensive to me. I called, like I said, Betsy, and I was like, Betsy, I don't know if I can afford this. And then we got to looking at it, and we got to looking at all of the things that we were going to get to replace with this one pane of glass. And so it came out, as far as expense financially, it came out almost a wash. I think we came out a little bit to the good on that when we added up all the things that we were going to do away with that next fiscal year. And so it wound up being a great financial move for us, as well as just functionality, just because it does so many things in one place. My tech, he also has access to this. He has been through all of the training. And by the way, something I want to mention, when you buy it, you get, these folks don't just, it's not like they just hand you the keys and walk away. You get, you get in-depth training on this. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Emma Ainsworth. She's awesome. And she gives, like I said, in-depth training on, a lot of the ideas that we had coming off of from a PDQ environment, things that we wanted to do that maybe that we did or maybe we didn't do and they didn't quite work right. You mentioned them to Emma, you mentioned them to Michael, and next thing you know, they're working. So the financial part was very good, and I didn't mean to go on chasing another rabbit, but financially, yes, it was very lucrative for us.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, again, Matt, we can't thank you enough for your time and your transparency and most of all, being a value customer to FileWave. So we thank you very much and appreciate your time. And again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We're happy to address those as well. But we pretty much now are at the end of our presentation here. The last piece, which is a really exciting piece for FileWave, we wanted to introduce Sean Daly, our director of channel. We have gone into a partnership with TRUCE, and we're so excited about it. We can't wait to share it, and there'll be more information on that as well. But Sean, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Lena. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Daly. As Lena said, I am the director of channel sales, and just kind of wanted to give you guys a sneak peek at our new partnership with TRUCE. As we go through this, there's not a whole lot of slides, and we will get moving. So basically what TRUCE is dealing with distractions at school, mainly around, thanks, Marina, around phones in schools, how to deal with that. It's a very pertinent topic of discussion. How do you handle it? Balancing the benefits of having technology such as phones in the school, but also dealing with the distractions that come along with that as well. So that's one thing. And as you can see, some of these headlines, a lot of states are handling this kind of with a blanket, but I think this is going to come down to a lot of individual districts, counties, and how they want to handle the actual phones on premise. So as you can see, you compare the solutions: no phones, the pouch or the locker or the book bag, or the TRUCE software. So obviously, if you don't allow phones in school, there's not going to be any distractions. You're not going to have staff, looking for stuff like that. But the backside of that is you're not going to be able to know exactly where your child is if you're a parent. There's not going to be any type of GPS location, any type of live 360 or anything like that, which this replaces. So if you move over to a solution like some of the other schools have kind of adopted with a pouch, or making sure that they can't have their phones with them in class, yes, it does reduce distractions, but then you've got the staff that's got to manage all the phones that are out there. People aren't going to be able to keep in touch with their family if there's an emergency. They're easy to open, they get broken, they get vandalized. And the main thing that I see as a con is the emergencies, just in case something happens. And we've all heard the stories, it happens. You've got shooters on site, anything like that. And if these kids don't have access to their phones to let somebody know, it definitely can be bad. With the truth, oh, sorry, Marina, can you go back one? I'm sorry. With the truth solution. So what it is, and I'll show you a nice little picture here. It basically keeps the communication lines between the parent and the child open so they can see exactly where they are. If they have to make a phone call, they are allowed to use the phone part of the phone. So, okay, now Marina, you can go to the next part. So what we're doing is we're partnering with TRUCE to balance everything between the students, the parents, the teachers, the administrators, and everybody that is basically using any type of phone that is going to be used during school, within the school perimeter, during the time of school. And I'll explain that as we move forward. So there should be an app that's made for this. And we do have one, and it is TRUCE Family. And if you go to the next slide, we'll kind of take a bigger look at how this works. So if there wasn't the phone on the screen right there, you would see a nice, pretty campus. And basically what the TRUCE software does is it sets up a perimeter around the campus, and it is on a time schedule. So let's say it's from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you have a phone on you and you wish to use it, you have access to the phone and whatever policy your school has enforced. So if it gives you access to your phone, if it gives you access to like something simple like a school application, whether it's a time schedule, anything like that, where a class schedule, you have access to that. If you are on campus during the times of when you're not supposed to be using any type of social media, chat GPT, anything like that, it will shut those down and you will not have access to those applications while you're on property during that specific time. On the backside of that, your parents will still have access to see exactly where you are, make sure you're at school. And there are other things that actually come with this solution. There are some things on the back end for driving. So if you are driving and, kids do it, I do it, you don't want anybody texting, you don't want them to have their social media on, taking pictures. That is another thing that we did talk to the TRUCE folks about. When you're on campus, you will not have access during the time of school or whatever time the policy has listed. You won't have access to your camera as well. So that will keep any type of, videoing, photos, and actually they turn off some of the audio stuff so you can't record while you're on campus during that time as well. So the TRUCE solution is basically something that is just going to help schools as a whole get phones under control while allowing parents and teachers to stay in contact, or at least to know where they are. Marina, if you want to move to the next one. Yeah, so TRUCE has been in business for a long time, since 2009. They've got a big presence in small business, whether it be in manufacturing, assembly lines, where their employees have to be focused. They don't want them on social media or doing anything like that. And of course, we have FileWave, and we've been helping schools manage devices over the last 30 years. So I know there's a lot of questions that would probably come from this. But we wanted to go ahead and get in front of it. And this is going to be a partnership that FileWave is going to embrace and push. And for all of our districts out there that are interested in it, you can definitely drop any type of information into the chat, and we can follow up with you and make sure you have the information that you need.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. And one thing I want to share too on that, if you're looking or interested, we are looking for pilot testers. So if you're interested, please put it in the chat or send me an email if you're interested in piloting this solution. So we're happy to help in any way that we can. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I do have, let's see here. We do have two questions. The first one is, how can FileWave help me with my security management in my district? Michael Hughes, is that something you want to take?
Yeah, sure. I can take that. It's not a problem whatsoever. So as we talk about, FileWave is not a security platform, right? But we can help you get your security out to your devices, whether it be pushing out your antivirus. And Matt knows he's worked with our team with his antivirus that he's pushed out to his district. So we can help you get your antivirus and your definitions, stay up to date via FileWave by pushing that via FileWave.
Yeah, to piggyback off what Michael said, we did change our antivirus program after we started using FileWave. And so, as you know, anybody that's tried to remove any of these antivirus programs, they don't make it easy. I was able to work with FileWave team. We actually wrote a custom script that would remove the old antivirus that we weren't using. And then we wrote another script that would and we did this all, it was one round trip. It connected, and it would remove the old, and it would turn around and install the new file set that we needed. So, and it worked well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And the other question we have here is, let's see. So what are the reporting capabilities of FileWave? And Michael, again, I apologize, but I think that question is geared towards you.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. And Matt, if you want to piggyback, you can say whatever you want to say as well, because I'm sure you use the reporting aspect as well. As I mentioned, we can get limitless on what kind of information you want from your devices. When it comes to FileWave, we pull reports over 2,000 data points, as I mentioned in my demonstration earlier. We also can do that custom fields where we can, if it's a script-based report, we can do those script-based reports. And as I mentioned, you can email those reports out. You can deliver them daily, weekly, however you want to set those up.
Great, great, awesome. Any other questions? I don't see, Marina, do you see any on your end? I don't think so. Okay. So again, we can't thank you enough for joining us today. Matt Fuller, thank you so much. Again, we value as a customer and appreciate your transparency and sharing all your experience with FileWave. And we continue to many, many more years of a great partnership. So what's next? So basically just keep in mind, we will be doing these on a monthly basis, different topics, not even just talking about FileWave, but the value, and we will highlight certain applications of FileWave. So keep in touch with that. We'll be sure to send that out. Also, if you want to get in touch with us, we can set up a demo, one-on-one technical demo with Michael, again, who is just outstanding.